it's late. It's one of those days, you know. It's the last session, so I was just doing a couple of little extra things and kind of got distracted. And when I looked up, it's like, oh my goodness, it's time to get started. So anyway, you can see I'm wearing my DSD shirt. I don't know how that looks to you guys, but it's DS Domination shirt that I got at the event, and that's partly because I'm going to talk a little bit more about DS Domination tonight than usual. I figured it was a good way to end our series because, after all, this was put together with the intent of helping us build our businesses. So let's get going. We got a few things to cover. This is more of how-to tonight as opposed to technicalities. We will be doing some tapping though. Always do tapping. That's the foundation, the groundwork for what we're doing. So we'll always be doing that. So let's get started, okay? It's week 6, the last week. Can you believe it? I mean, the time has flown. It's been amazing to me that it's gone by this quickly, but it has. And with that, it means we're almost halfway through the summer, too. Well, no, not really, because I guess summer is only 4 weeks old, but gosh, it seems like here in Vegas, it's hot. So it's been hot for a while. It seems like summer started a long time ago. And then I guess at this time, though, for some of you who are in the middle of the country where the temperatures are in the 50s and the 60s today, you're wondering if winter is ever going to end. I tell you, something's happening with Mother Nature, with the Earth. Makes you kind of wonder. All the talk the scientists have been giving us about the pole shifting and environmental change and all that. Well, we do know that the poles have shifted a few degrees. And when it comes to us, a few degrees can make a big difference. But that's beside the point. We are here on Earth to create, to be a part of this wonderful, magnificent planet, and to take advantage of all that she has to give us. So the changes that take place, we may as well work with them. We can't do anything about it. We can do our best to reverse some of the influences we've had, but at this point in time, we just got to go with the flow. Okay, so let's flow. Well, I hope that you guys have found some value in this series, and that throughout the process, especially by this time, you've started to experience some manifestations of your heart's desire, and that you are seeing movement of the energy around you and within you in some positive directions. So let me just say this. I've been wanting to say this all week. Way to go. Way big way to go, guys. You deserve a pat on your back for staying committed and focused on your success and your personal growth and development. And 6 weeks is a long time. I mean, it's a significant commitment of time, and you've done it. So I appreciate that commitment and that you have taken this journey with me. Because after all, I've been doing the classes and helping you with the tapping, but you know what? It's working for me too. My energy has shifted. I'm seeing results. Thank you, because without this class, I probably wouldn't, well, I wouldn't have done it in sequence. And I realized that there's a value to the sequence of these classes because it really does start you in one place and take you to another. So I've been able to move to a new level as I've gone through this with you. So to that, I'm very grateful. For that, I'm very grateful. So as a reward, I want you to do something. You made this commitment to yourself and you followed it through. And that is amazing. Don't discount it or shortcut yourself for the credit you deserve. Pat yourself on the back. Give yourself a big high five. And give yourself a great big hug and a kiss. Kiss your shoulders. And I'm not kissing my shoulders because I got on lipstick. But you know what I mean. Just give yourself a big hug and a kiss and let your body know. Tell your body and your spirit, I love you, because it hears it, you know? So if you take nothing more than just the fact that you've learned how to love yourself more and better, if that's all you get out of this, I've accomplished my goal, because you've got to learn how to love yourself more and love yourself enough, even if nobody else does. Your body hears everything you say, and it feels everything you feel. After all, you live there, okay? When you give it love, it responds to it the same way you do when someone gives you love. And if you give your body anger and resentment and inferiority and, don't like this and don't like that about your body, it responds to that, I mean, you can feel it, how you feel about yourself when you frown up and look in the mirror and you don't like this. I learned to love myself. Extra baggage, extra chins, whatever. And I've noticed my body responding to it. Now, I put on a few more pounds, but it seems to enjoy it because I took it off and then I put a few pounds back on. I really want to get those pounds back off, though, because I really did feel better when I didn't have them on. So I'm going to take them off again. In that respect, my body and I are a little at odds with each other, but I think if I give it more activity, I kind of think it's telling me, well, if you don't give me what I need, which is more activity, I'm going to make you fat. And that's basically what it's all about, because our bodies need movement. It was designed to move. If you look at the design of your body, there's joints everywhere, and it was designed to move. And most of us who live in America have so many comforts that we don't get enough exercise. I mean, we know that. That's a given. And because we don't, our bodies will tend to store fat. That's its way of kind of dealing with all the extra calories we take in. But it's not just the food calories. The body's muscles and bones and cells all have intelligence and memory. You have to understand that memory is evident in the way that our body will create diseases. When our energy fields get toxic and we're having negative thoughts and we create an outpicturing of some experience or feeling that takes the form of a disease or a condition, the body, remembers that. And I don't know if you knew it or not, but the body's cells, our cells are dying all the time. We are shedding cells and everything every day. And it takes, I think it's somewhere between 3 and 5 years for the body to shed all the cells. Like the body we're sitting in today, 3 to 5 years from now, will be completely recycled. It will have replaced all the cells that we're currently using right now with new ones. But the cellular memory will transfer that formation, that structure, to the new cells. That's the body's memory. That's the energy, the experience of transferring energy from one cell to the other. If that weren't true, disease would disappear after a certain amount of time because the cells that contain that disease would be gone. But because it transfers that energy and that memory, the new cells that grow, which is very true in the case of cancer, carry that energy and that structure into the new developing cells. It's also why we have to be careful about our energy and do cleansing and healing, because that's what creates disease and discomfort and all kinds of stuff. It's the messages we send to ourselves over and over and over and over again until it just starts to deform and degrade under the pressure. Okay, so that's just a quick science lesson on how your body works, but it's also the reason why I want you to understand how our bodies has, like I mentioned last week, your heart has its own intelligence. It's like a second brain, where your body has its own intelligence too. Every cell in your body has its own intelligence and awareness. It knows how to be a heart, how to be a lung, how to be a muscle, a nerve, and what to do when it receives signals from our brains and our hearts. It receives instructions on how to move from our brains. It receives emotion and how to feel from our hearts. So you want to make sure you love it. I know you've been giving it years of torture and punishment and, putting it down a lot. So turn that energy around and start loving yourself. So this week we're going to connect some more dots. We're going to talk about how your mind and body interact with the universal energy field we live in and how you can use this energy and apply it to building your DS Domination business. Last week, we talked about how the air around us is not empty space. It's an intelligent, conscious, responsive energy field, literally a medium full of creative potential. I mean, and you think about all the other living beings, creatures that live in the air. It's got to be full of something, because microbes, tiny little animals and other species all use the air around us. Some of them live in it. Airborne viruses. I mean, we can create illness, pass it from person to person through the air. So no, it's not empty, and we must stop considering it as empty space and become more aware of its consciousness and how we live and react in and with it, okay? But before we get into that, I want to take a minute and talk about another form of energy, which is money, because that's what we are all working our businesses to create, and what this last 6 weeks has been about, manifesting money, okay, because we need it. But no matter what we do, how we practice, how hard we work on shifting energies, we must also acknowledge and recognize our mindsets, because it's our belief systems and feelings about money that really are the core, at the basis of the experiences of lack and limitations that we're having. So let's talk about it for a minute, okay? Too many of us have limiting beliefs. We've got perceptions and issues with money itself, with the concept of money. For many people, money has a negative energy or connotation attached to it. It may be a result of upbringing, our religious training and belief systems, or some other experience that's very deep within our subconscious minds. Let's put it that way. Subconscious is a word. Whatever the case, we have to clear, heal, and transform those feelings about money, the very feelings we have about it, if we ever want to receive the abundance we deserve and desire. Abundance is our birthright. It's the universe's gift to us. And we can do all of the thinking and working in the world, but if what we believe and feel deep within us is in conflict, it will always override and sabotage our entitlement. So we must address these issues. That's why I include tapping as part of the manifestation process, because it actually goes deep into our subconscious minds and our body's energy systems to transform the resistance we may not even realize is there. When you do energy healing, you're working on a very different level than your conscious awareness. And that's what's necessary, because our experiences, the feelings and emotions based on what we've done and what we witnessed, goes into our emotional systems, but it's stored in our bodies. That's why when you have a certain something that you may have been through that was painful or frightening, and you see it again, you have a physical response to it. Your muscles tighten, you go on alert, your heart races. That's all your body's physical response based on previous events, and your body's immediate response. Without you thinking about it, you immediately respond to that previous memory. In addition to our own personal beliefs about money, there's the earthly negativity that surrounds money. From culture to culture, it's different. From person to person, it's different. Even from group to group, family to family, it's all different. The negativity created by human minds way back in antiquity now resides in our race consciousness, and we've come to believe it. Not everyone does, but most people do, which is why lack and limitation and scarcity is the prevalent experience of abundance in our world. And once we can heal that energy on a great, to a great, what we get to, what we call that, the tipping point, where we critical mass, whatever. Once we reach a point where we can elevate the consciousness of abundance and money with the masses to a certain point, it will tip the scales, and that energy will begin to become what we accept as our belief system about it. But we're not there yet. In the spiritual planes, scarcity, lack, and limitation doesn't even exist. Can you believe it? It does not exist anywhere except in the minds of human beings. Money is seen as an energy exchange on the spiritual levels, a means of exchanging energy, a simple system that allows people to compensate each other for services rendered or for goods given. The universe knows that life on the physical planes need material essentials, and so it gave us the idea to create a means of abundance energy for exchange, otherwise known as an economy, okay? Back in the day, we exchanged material goods. We did bartering. We exchanged things like food and clothing or other goods and services. But that system has great limitations. Basically, you can only do it within the space of a certain distance, or within certain groups, okay? But we needed something much larger when it came to handling a global economy or the need to interact together globally. We needed something much simpler that was much easier to manage. So, in its infinite wisdom, God gave us the concept of money. Like any loving parent, God wants us to be comfortable, safe, and happy, and to have as much as we need or desire. And to be that, our material needs must be met here on earth. In order to provide properly for those needs, we need a system of exchange that works for everyone. That's called money. Even the terrorists who live in caves and, you know, live in abject poverty recognize the need for money, and they do things to get money to promote and further their agendas. But they can't do it without money. They'd be useless. So, money, while if people see it as the root of all evil, it can do horrible things. It's not the money. The money is simply an energy in physical form. It's really an emotional energy in physical form, but I won't go into that here because I don't want to talk forever. But it's the money it drives. I mean, think about how much emotion is garnered around money. Money will cause people to kill. It'll cause people to rejoice. It'll cause people to do crazy things, take great risks to acquire money. It's tremendously emotional as far as we are concerned. But it's not evil. It's a tool. I mean, it's like electricity. Electricity can be used to light your house, to cook your food, to warm your house. It can burn the house down if it's not properly used. It can kill you if a bolt of lightning strikes you. So it's not that money is evil. It's the tool and the way it's used by the human beings that makes it harmful. But you got people that also use it to do incredible good. Without the incredible abundance that some people amass, like Oprah and Bill and Melinda Gates and Warren Buffett and others, without their great fortunes, they couldn't do a lot of the great good that they are doing in their efforts to counter some of the negative stuff that's being done in the world. So it's a tool. And, when you look at electricity, you don't get mad at electricity because it can kill you or burn down your house. In fact, you get pretty upset when the power company turns off your electricity because you don't have lights. You can't, you don't have warmth. And hey, biggest thing is you won't have electricity to run your computer. So, it'll cause a big disturbance in the forest if you don't have power. So, get your attitude and your belief system straight about money. It's simply another energy form. It's a method of exchanging and giving compensation for services rendered in a form that everyone can use. The whole problem of lack and limitation and the way in our creation of it is because we've created this, well, put it this way, negative beliefs that came about through conditioning, and some of it was done by classes, the ruling classes conditioned the working classes of lack and limitation. Of its existence in order to control them and keep the working classes working for them so they could amass greater fortunes. It was a lie. It was a rumor that was started, but it was done in such a powerfully convincing way that the lower masses bought into it. And because of the way some of the upper classes ruled with, cruelty and punishment and darkness, it became a belief system in the lower classes that if you have money, you got to be mean and crazy and do horrible things like the ruling classes. But that's not true, because without the generosity of the better, more spiritual people, we would never have any good things done in the world. So if you have negative beliefs about money or resistance about it, you're going to have problems receiving it. You'll have problems giving it because, you may have trouble receiving it because you feel like, oh, I'm not spiritual. I'm not a good person if I amass too much money. I don't want too much of it because it'll mean that I'm bad or something's wrong with me or I'm going to turn, evil. No, it doesn't mean that at all. It's your choice what you do with it. But generally, people that do turn it into a negative or use it for harmful purposes, it's not because the money did anything to them. It's because that's who they were, and money only brought it out, gave them the power and the freedom to be who they really are. On the other hand, if you have trouble giving money, you're miserly. So then you also have problems with the flow, because now you can't share it. And no one is meant to amass great fortunes without doing great good with it. It's all, I mean, there's the belief in the saying that to one to whom much is given, much is expected. And that's true, okay? Because not everybody is born with the ability to amass great fortunes or even the desire for it. It goes back to why we're here, our life purpose, our experiences, because, that's another whole thing. I'm not going to go into it here, but there are reasons why some people don't want money or don't have money and others do. But if used for the right reasons and for the right purposes, it's all good and everyone will benefit and every purpose will be served. So, we just have to understand that those of us who know better and who are looking to have success and have more money need to address our issues that may be there from who knows where that prevent us from achieving our goals. And in some cases, it keeps us from achieving our life purpose. The system of exchange requires the energy of abundance to flow through it, through the law of abundance, from one resource, us, to and through another, and so on and so on. That's the flow. That system relies on one resource giving something and then receiving something in exchange for that contribution. In this case, we're talking about the exchange of service or gifts or products for money. The problem comes when one of the resources either can't give or can't receive. And that sets up the energy of lack and limitation, either because you're too afraid to give or receive, or because you don't have enough to give or receive. Okay, either way creates blocks. The problem comes when we get into this lack and limitation, which simply reinforces the blocks, the resistance, the fear, the insecurity. But the universe is always in flow, and it is the flow. The universe itself is the flow of energy. So when we get blocked, especially when we create the scarcity, when we get blocked, we create the scarcity we experience from our beliefs, okay? It's not the universe experiencing scarcity. The universe knows only abundance. It's us. We experience the scarcity. We create the lack and limitation. And then we are also out of balance and in conflict with the universe. More problems, okay? To release our energy and get back in the flow, we must shift our belief systems, focus on allowing abundance to flow through us, and feel good about the process. That's what the last 5 weeks was intended to do for you, to get you back in the flow and back in balance. So to make sure you connect the dots and do your part in clearing your channels of abundance, you need to do the practices. This is so that your abundance can flow to and through you. Most of us have the desire to give to others, but we fail to realize that our ability to do that is limited when our resources are limited. When you have abundance, enough to spare and share, you can do a lot, and for more people. The more you have, the more people you can help without experiencing any effect on your ability to have more than you need. Okay, without your ability, by being able to do this, it doesn't affect your abundance and prosperity at all. You can meet your needs and then some. Another obstacle to abundance for many of us is receiving, as I was saying before. We're okay with giving, but we feel it's selfish to receive. That's simply more lack and limitation thinking. For some reason, we've been taught or, given the idea, and we buy into it, that if we receive something that we're taking too much, that we don't deserve it, we're not worthy. All that's negative thinking. Remember, go back to your energy, your emotional guidance system chart and look at where those energies are. So just think about it. In order to give, somebody's got to receive. I mean, truth, the flow. One hand's out, the other one's passing, receiving and passing. So if there's not two hands out, one to put something in and one to pass it out of, can't happen. As soon as one hand is not available, the flow is disrupted. If no one can receive, no one can give. In order for someone to give, someone must receive. On the other hand, if all you can do is receive and you can't give, you've created another block in the system because you're blocking the flow. Just like I said, both hands have to be open in order to receive and give. The point is to have abundance. We must be in the flow with the energy of the universe to experience abundance. So do your tapping and free up your channels and resources of abundance so your good can come to and flow through you. Because when that happens with you, it happens for all of us. Now, earlier today, someone asked a question, and I think it's a good time to answer this one because it fits right into what we were talking about, and that's your energy being lifted and keeping it up so that you can be happy, feel good, and be in the flow. And I hear this all the time, which is one of the reasons I decided to include it in the video so that other people who come along later and listen to the video, whether they're in our group or not, can hear this. I think it's that important. This applies to everyone. The question was, how do you remain positive? You know, because we've been going through exercises, but of course, things happen. And when you've been down in the darkness for a long time, being positive can seem like a pipe dream. So she said, I know you can visualize and do all the other work, but being positive and doing the practices while you wait for things to change, how, you know, she says, I can't believe it. How do we stay in that place of believing it will happen when it's not happening yet? You have doubts and fears because they were there before. Things are not the way you want them to be. How do you stay positive during the transition? Okay. My answer was, well, when you first begin to work on shifting your energy, it takes time for the change to happen. I mean, it just does. So while you're in the transformation process, I mean, think about a caterpillar when it goes into the cocoon. While that change is happening, it's hidden away in the shell while it's transforming until the transformation is complete and the energy has shifted and taken on a new structure. It's locked away. So in a way, you kind of have to allow yourself to be that caterpillar. Put yourself in the chrysalis of transformation, and then when the transformation reaches a certain point, you come out and you are transformed, okay? While you're in this process, you have to be patient. Put yourself in the chrysalis of faith and patience. You didn't get to this place overnight, and depending on how long you've been living in this low-level energy cocoon, it'll take some time to get you out of it and firmly anchor your energy in the higher levels, which means you've been transformed. Once you get transformed, you tend to stay there. You don't bounce back and forth once you reach there, but it takes some time to get there. During the process of transformation, you go into patience and faith. And you know that faith, what faith is the belief in things that you can't see. You must have hope. The hope gives you something to look forward to. It allows you to focus your energy onto the goal ahead and not into your current situation. This is a process. It's a change of habits and behaviors. And we are human. We are creatures of our habits. And quite frankly, we hate change. Even though change is the best thing for us and everything around us says everything must change. I mean, change is the only thing that's really consistent. And I used to love that oxymoron when I was a kid because when you think about it, you know, we say, I don't want anything to change. I want everything to stay the same. But then we want our lives to change because we want more money and we want more love. But it's like, come on, you know, let's get in sync, be honest with ourselves. If we don't change, if things don't change in our lives, we get stuck in this place, which we don't want to stay stuck either. So we've got to, you know, get into alignment with what we really desire and stop fighting ourselves, because that's what makes it so hard. So even though we're creatures of habit, we must replace these bad habits with new good ones. To change a habit takes at least 3 weeks. Sometimes longer, and it could take even longer for a lifelong or long-term habit or feeling that's become part of who we are. Sometimes we've been in the darkness and the pain and suffering for so long we've forgotten how it feels to feel good. You know, I mean, some people have a hard time even laughing because of that. And you know, I mentioned early on in the series about watching that movie called What the Bleep Do I Know? It's on YouTube. You don't even have to rent it. You can watch it on YouTube. But there is such an incredible, it's a silly little movie, but it's a good story. And there's some scientific explanation, narration in it too, because it's not just the movie. There's scientists explaining the process as they go along. But more than anything, the most significant thing I got out of it was how it explains addiction, energy, chemical, emotional addiction, how it works in our body, our brains, and why we have to do certain things to dislodge that energy in order to, and replace it with something else in order for change to happen, in order for us to get out of certain states of being. I mean, I can explain it for forever, but if you watch the movie, within a few minutes of this section of the movie where they explain it, you get it. It's like, oh, that's why drug addiction occurs, alcoholism, love addiction, sex addiction, even our addiction to our depression and sadness and bad habits. You can be addicted to feeling good and being happy, just like you get addicted to being depressed and sad. I mean, it's all a chemical, emotional state of being, and that's why we can change it too. But that's why we're committing to our daily practice, energy practices, and why it's so important that we do that. Because if we do the energy work every day and use the visualizations and affirmations and tapping sequences every day, even tapping several times a day if you need to, you'll see results and you will learn a new way of being. You may never get to the place where you're always positive. Because, I mean, everybody has moments when they feel insecure or fearful or get down, especially if something happens. And doing this work doesn't mean you won't ever have a bad day or a painful experience. But what it does is it gives you the tools to handle them more effectively. It teaches you how to recognize when you're letting your emotions or a situation get the better of you, so you can take steps to shift the energy and stop the descent into negativity before it becomes set in. And that's the most important thing, is to stop it before, you stop something when it just starts, you can head it off. But if you wait till it gets fully blown, then it's difficult to do anything about it. I found, though, that once you get far enough into the higher energy levels and you're used to feeling good, it becomes easier to shift the energy when something does happen, because you've gotten addicted to feeling good, just like you were addicted to your drama and your sadness. You can get addicted to your good feelings and your joy. And that's because feeling good has become your new normal, whereas feeling bad had been your normal. The way I maintain my happier feelings is by doing something every day to raise my energies and keep me focused and stable, whether it's meditation or visualization or taking a class with someone who can teach me more or do something for me. Whatever it is, I do something every day to help me stay in that place, and it works. I've also eliminated certain things in my life. I don't watch movies or TV shows that are violent or that make me sad. There's some violence in most dramas or movies, but I try to make sure that it's not the overwhelmingly heavy stuff. I don't do the scary stuff. I don't do any of that at all. And some of the more violent movies where there's slicing and dicing and torturing and killing, I don't do that at all, because that energy gets in your mind. And our emotions, we react to that stuff just like it's happening. That's the reason visualizations work so well. You can imagine and dream and feel all that, and it brings it to you. Well, when you're in a movie and you're being scared to death or seeing somebody being tortured and cut to pieces and all this dark stuff, and you react to it in the movie, your mind and body don't know that you're watching a make-believe movie. They're responding to it just like it's happening to you. So it can cause some serious damage to you. And a lot of people are really into that stuff and wonder why their lives aren't working, or why they're so nervous and crazy and can't sleep and full of fear. And, every time the doorbell rings, they jump. And, all that stuff is by programming through the media. So it's important to watch what you're exposing yourself to. I do love sci-fi movies, though, although I kind of even limit them to, I used to love the alien movies. I kind of limit my exposure to them too, because they can be so violent. But I love space travel, so most science fiction movies are right up my alley. But I kind of like the movie Gravity. I haven't really watched it because I feel like it's so intense about her fear and the experience of being lost in space, floating around in a spacesuit. I don't even know how the movie ends, but I haven't watched it because I just can't stand the intensity of the emotion of fear and drama she's going through. It's just more than my system can handle, so I don't watch that stuff anymore. But I love informative programs, and I love things that make me laugh. World's Dumbest Videos is one of my favorite shows. It's stupid people doing stupid things, and, it makes me laugh. So anyway, and you just need to think about how you what you put in your mind and what you expose your emotions and your body to. Because remember, your mind and your body don't know, it's make believe, and it will react and program you for the violent assaults, just like it would if you went through it yourself. And I don't allow negative people in my life, not anymore. I've had enough of that. So when I encounter them, I let them pass on through. And when it's family, I set boundaries and limits of exposure as much as possible. Now, unfortunately, most of my family has gone on. They've all passed away. But those who are left who have negative, events or attitudes, I limit my exposure to them because you can't fix them and you can't change them, but you can only control your responses to them. So I minimize my exposure. But when I do encounter them, I put up my shield of white light and do the things that I can do to keep them from raining on my parade, messing up my day, because some people love to do that. They'll push those buttons and stand on them if you let them. And I don't allow my imagination to run away with me when I hear troubling news, because some people, hear bad news and boy, they spiral down into the experience and get scared and worried as though it's happened to them. Got to get out of that mindset too. That's conditioning and programming, because because you hear it happen to someone else does not mean it will happen to you. However, if you get that energy in your mind and you're so worried and fearful that it could happen to you, remember, you're constantly emoting out into the energy field of creativity. So yeah, you can worry yourself into having a similar experience. Okay, really, you can draw that to you, because other people who are of that energy will pick it up and be drawn to you to present you with what you're telling the universe you want more of. All right, so be careful of that. And I also know when I hear of some bad news or things that have happened out in the world that are troubling or distressing, I remind myself that I know everything happens for a reason, and that I don't know all those reasons. The universe is in perfect control, and things happen that I may never understand why, even when they seem to be someone that's victimized or greatly injured by certain things. There's way more to life than we know, and there's a lot about our reasons for being here that we just don't understand. In many cases, some of us don't even believe that we are here for more than just a few years to have a physical experience that could be horrible. But in my belief and in my understanding from my studies and teachings, I believe there's something more to it, that there's a reason for everything despite what we see. Everything happens for a reason. I know that the universe wants what's best for me, and that whatever happens in my life is either a sign that I'm off course, that I need to make an adjustment, or that what's happened to someone else is a part of their life experience, and that there's a greater purpose for that event that I don't know about and can't see at this point in time. I trust that the universe has everything under control, that it's all in perfect order, and that I don't always know what's best for someone else or what that something else means. I try not to judge a thing as bad, because very often we make our greatest advancements and changes and shifts in mindset after what seems like a great tragedy or crisis. I mean, some of the worst things that have happened in the world have caused us to have a positive response that makes a major change that couldn't be done in any other way, okay? Unfortunately, as humans at our current stage of development, that's how we grow. It's how we learn. Discomfort makes us see the light and moves us to action. Comfort often makes us complacent and lethargic and comfortable in our ignorance. Okay, now most of us here getting out of that. That's my theory, and not theory, but my teaching part of the class. Okay, now we're going to move a little bit more into the real reason why we got to this point anyway, and that's about deist domination. Most of us are here because we want more success in our deist domination businesses. And while what I've done in the last 5 weeks may not seem related to building your businesses, I assure you it absolutely is. Okay? So let me connect some more dots for you. First, some of us are experiencing challenges like procrastination. Don't want to post those listings. Can't find those products. All those things that we create in our minds, why we haven't, that have kept us from moving forward. We have fear. We don't believe in ourselves. There's that lack of confidence. maybe we just don't believe we can do it because we've never had that kind of success before, so we have no points of reference. Or maybe we've been depressed and sad, so we're constantly fighting with that inner self of, I don't want to be disappointed again. We may feel discouraged as we see others who are having more success shoot right past us, and we get jealous, or we feel inferior, or any number of things that come up in response to what we are seeing. But everything that I've given you in the last 5 weeks was designed to address all of these concerns and even more. You have information now for shifting your mindsets and belief systems. You have information to help you be more mindful of your thoughts and your speech, so you can see how some of what you say diminishes your energy and contradicts your efforts. For instance, one of the things, and this just drives me crazy, or has been driving me crazy too, many of the people in our group have adopted the saying, "I'm in PayPal jail." The first time I heard that, I went, "Excuse me, jail?" But it became the key, the keyword, and everybody's using it, which can kind of tell you about the mindset of all those people. Some people don't use it, but a lot of people do, and in their use of it, they are talking about being trapped. Okay. Keisha and Reginald, Keisha Bass and Reginald Stinson are doing their best to shift that energy. In their trainings, they ask people to stop saying it. They're trying to get people to understand what this means and how those words are creating resistance and complications for them. The reason is jail creates a negative energy. It says you've done something wrong, that you're being punished or restricted for some reason, okay? PayPal is not punishing us. It's just absolutely not true. Actually, the PayPal holds are a safeguard put in place by eBay to protect us from unscrupulous sellers and buyers. And it's designed to protect us, In the past, some unscrupulous, dishonest people would take a buyer's money and never deliver the products. Those people deserve to be in jail. But unfortunately, once the money was transferred, they couldn't do anything. So PayPal came up with the idea of the holds to keep everybody honest. And, they just, they give everybody time. They give the credit cards a chance to clear. Even DSD does the same thing. For those of you who are affiliates, when someone comes into the business, we don't get that money right away. DSD holds it for 3 weeks. And the reason is, we are all using credit cards online to pay for our memberships, and when someone uses a credit card, it takes about 3 weeks to determine if that credit card is valid, whether it's been stolen or whether it's fraudulent. And because some of these sales are international, it takes a full 3 weeks for that determination to be made. So what they've done is, instead of taking money back from you 3 weeks later, which not only would be painful for you, but it would be an accounting nightmare, by holding this money in a suspense account, basically. Business does that all the time, but by holding this money in a suspense account until it's cleared, like the banks do, you are protected. Our buyers are protected, but you are too against fraudulent sales, okay? So instead of jail, let's call it what it is. It's a trial period while we establish our reputations as trustworthy sellers. And it protects the buyers, because if the buyers got ripped off buying on eBay, they go away and everything would crash, okay? So everyone's okay with the concept of being on trial or a probationary period or whatever, just a clearing period. It's a period of clearing of funds, okay? I mean, get over it. It's part of the business. Another thing many are doing is letting someone else's success define theirs. And, some of us are guilty of that. I'm guilty of it. I've done it. But I check myself whenever I get into that place. I know better. Don't do it to yourself. Just don't do it. You don't know what resources, skills, experiences, or advantages the other person may have. Maybe they've been an eBay seller before and they kind of know what they're doing. Maybe they have lots of cash and credit, which means they can finance their sales without restrictions. until their holds are released, and that gives them a lot more power to buy and and sell bigger products because they don't have to wait for funds to clear. They just charge it. Okay, maybe the person did an online garage sale of stuff that they owned and got rid of all of these things they weren't using anymore, because a lot of people did that to get their sales up. I mean, if you can find 25 things, and it doesn't have to be big, it can be anything. I've seen people selling, going to Goodwill and garage sales and buying certain coffee cups. You can buy collectibles, which these coffee cups, based on what was on them, identified them as collectibles. You can sell anything. I saw one guy selling an ebook. The point is, you want to make your 25 sales. It can be a very inexpensive item, an ebook, a collectible, stuff out of your closet that you don't use. It's anything, online auctions, they all work to meet your quota. So you don't know what these people have done to meet their quota, and they may, because if you have a garage sale on eBay, you can get rid of a whole bunch of stuff that's just taking up space and cluttering up your house. And when you do that, not only do you clear up space and create a place for more new things to come in, but you meet your quota, okay? You may even find that some of these people have access to other people's excess inventory. There was a story yesterday that Nikki told a couple of days ago on the Hangout about how she goes and buys stuff from dollar stores in bulk and then resells it online. I bet you never thought about that. But I know some of the dollar stores, you can buy, their inventory. You go do the same thing you would do when you're searching a product on Amazon, find out if it sells on eBay. And if it does, go buy it. I mean, they talk about it a lot with the Genesis products. All of these things are ways to meet your quota, okay? I ordered some batteries, some little tiny watch batteries the other day from this seller on Amazon. I got them in an envelope. They didn't pack them in a box. They paid 46 cents or whatever postage is today to mail it to me in an envelope, because it came in a little package about that long, but the package is only about that big. So sticking it, they wrapped it in some notebook paper and stuck it in an envelope, put a stamp on it, and sent it to me. But it's a sale. So, be creative and look at your options before you start locking yourself up in anybody's jail. The jail is only in your mind. So you got to get out of free jail card. So get out of jail free card, rather. Use it. And there's also the possibility that the person that's touting all the success is exaggerating, or should I say lying? Yeah, there's been some of that done too. I know some people that have said they've done this, that, and the other. Didn't happen. And what if the person you're comparing yourself to is one of them? This means that what you're measuring your success and worthiness by is someone else's insincerity and fabrications. In other words, you may be comparing yourself to something that's not even real. How sad is that? So do yourself a favor. You define you. You do what you have to do to build your business based on what's relevant in your life right now. So what if it takes you a year to build it? Most companies, off and online, take 1 to 3 years to get established. This is no different. In our society, we are encouraged to chase instant gratification. And when it doesn't happen as fast as we think it should, we get frustrated and we quit. We get impatient. We quit. Very often we quit just before we're about to have the breakthrough that produces the success that we've always wanted. So give yourself time. Give yourself time to learn the ropes in your own time, however that unfolds for you. This isn't a race. It's a business. It takes commitment and focus. If you give it that commitment and focus, you will be richly rewarded for your efforts. And I don't care how long it takes. When you reach that goal and make that money, you get that incredible boost of self-confidence and sense of achievement, and you get a lot of money too. I mean, it's worth the wait, okay? When you get frustrated with either finding products to list or waiting for your, holds to be released, tap on it. That's what it's for. Maybe tapping for comfort or confidence will help you through that moment. When you find yourself avoiding doing what you need to do for making listings, tap on it. Or for setting goals or whatever. You're procrastinating. You're getting up doing other things, and I've defined what that looks like. Tap on it. Use the procrastination sequence. You don't have to go through the whole video. Just go to the sequence and tap on it. Or go to the video, fast forward to that segment, to the end, where the sequence is, and tap through it with me. That works too. If you're feeling like you're not having the success you want, tap with the self-confidence or sustaining your success sequences. If you want more of something, tap with the art of receiving or releasing money issue sequences. I'm going to post a list of all these sequences in the file sections later this week, but right now you're just going to have to page through the Facebook page, scroll down to where those links are and use them. You'll find them. They're still there, and the group's going to stay around, so you don't have to worry about it going away. When you find yourself faltering or feeling stuck or in resistance, come back and watch the session that helps you shift your energies to higher levels, whatever that session is. Self-confidence, procrastination, tell your new story, whatever it is, tap on it. That's why we are using tapping. You know it shifts the energy, so use it. If you do your daily energy practices and keep doing them during the coming months, you will find your new habits will settle in and replace your old habits and behaviors, and with a minimal amount of effort. But most of all, be gentle with yourself, okay? Don't chase the instant gratification monkey, okay? Instant gratification is like a drug, and it really is. You know, it's that emotional rush, that adrenaline surge of feeling that high. And nobody wants a monkey on their back, no matter what kind it is, okay? Because it'll drive you crazy, and the result will be that you'll eventually fall back into your old patterns and habits and create the same experiences you've been creating. Drama, trauma, chaos, lack, limitation, and scarcity. Remember, you're going to create things whether you are aware of it or not. Conscious, deliberate creation means you'll get more of what you want. Unconscious, careless creation means you get, well, you know what you get with that. You've been doing pretty good with it, okay? So set some goals of your goals for your DSD business. Like, make sure you're watching the training webinars and videos. Make it part of your plan. Schedule time for them. You should watch the pro and or elite. Now, I say the pro and elite if you are the elite level. Watch those level trainings or the replays at least once a week, whether you attend the live training or a replay. Watch them. The reason is there's so much more critical information and technique in the webinars. I mean, the original training videos are great. They give you the basics, and Roger doesn't go over that again in the webinar trainings. But what he does do is give you what Hitesh used to call the secret sauce. He gives you all the technique, the refinements, the updates, the tips, all the things that couldn't be crunched into a 8 to 10 minute video. He gives you in the hour-long trainings. I mean, you know, if each of those original training videos was an hour long, we would never do it. But he gives us little bites, little nuggets to get us through up and running. We get us through the basics. And then every week, he builds on that. And I have learned so much more by watching the webinars every week since I started. There's stuff that you can't get in the basic training. The basic training is valuable. You can't do the business without it, because that's where he teaches you the tools, how to do it. But the webinars are vital because this is how you learn to refine your skills and all the little things that are not mentioned in the videos, as well as updates, new stuff that comes up, or extra things that he didn't teach us before. The whole point is you got to be willing to commit to the training if you want to be successful. Now, personally, I've been attending all of the trainings. I've been on every one every week since I started last November. Every single week I do the pro level when I was just pro, and when I went to elite, I've been doing that, okay? And I do both. I spend, you know, that Wednesday evening time slot for 3 hours. I spend, you know, the time on the pro, and then I go into the elite. And I hate to miss one because it's that vital, that entertaining. And I recommend that you do it. You'll find your skills greatly improved very shortly. And attend the Hangouts. This is something I admit I had been a little lax on doing, but so many people share so many tips and shortcuts and things that they're doing in the Hangouts, if for no other reason, if it's not just the inspiration, it's the nuggets that they drop, okay? You'll hear some very useful tips from others, and they'll share how they got ahead, or, you know, overcame their PayPal holes, or overcame some fears or issues, or maybe you'll just hear their story and it'll resonate with you and give you hope. That's how all of you guys got to know me. I mean, when I told my story, I had so many people messaging me and friending me because my story was so similar to theirs. That's why we're here doing this, because I found so many people in my situation that I wanted to offer the assistance of what I had learned and what I had gained through my coaching to help everybody, get a heads up, to move forward, to break through. So, it's important. But the Hangouts are really good because not only do you get to bring new people and they get to get inspired and encouraged and enthused by what they hear, the stories that they hear, but you do too. In fact, just a couple of days ago, I got a new nugget from someone that was talking about something she had done. And I remember hearing her say it before. I really realized this was not new, but for whatever reason, it did not register till the other night. And I woke up this morning thinking, wow, I get it. I get it. Who knew? And why didn't I hear that before? Why didn't I remember it before? So it's important to be on those Hangouts because you never know when someone's going to say something that's exactly what you needed to hear just at that point in time to break you through. Another thing you want to do is use the information in the file sections of the Unit of Prosperity. It's not just for new people. Go there periodically and see what you can use. What may not have applied to you before could be just what you need right now. And focus on maxing out your listings. When you do, eBay will give you an increase in the number of listings and the total value that you can post. Tweak your titles and prices whenever necessary, and you should review them, especially for something that's not selling. If you're trying to achieve a dollar goal, the rule of, and this is as far as your earnings, the rule of thumb is you will earn about $500 a month for every 100 listings you've posted. Now, that's not an absolute, it's a relative, but it's a basis for you to plan. If someone asks you, well, how much do I need to do in order to earn $1,000 a month? You'll know to tell them, well, basically, you're going to have to focus on posting about 200 listings. And so however long it takes you to do that is how long it may take you to get to the point of earning $1,000 a month. And of course, that will also be determined by how much profit, whether it's the minimum of $3 Roger recommends, or $5 or $10 or $20 per item. That will determine what they make. But I had someone ask me the other day, how much do I need to do to make about $500 a month? You need to focus on getting to 100 listings. It may take you 3 months, depending on your eBay limits and your experience and your focus and dedication. Okay. Use your visualization exercises to reach your DSD goals. How does that apply? Well, let's say you desire to have all the DSD products, and maybe you only got one. Maybe you're only at the pro level, or maybe you're a pro and elite or whatever, and you want the others. So what you do is you envision yourself logging into your back office and seeing all the products in green. You can even take a screen print, like somebody posted in the Unit of Prosperity just the other day, a screen print of their back office, and all the products were in green. Well, all you need to do is take that screen print it off, put your name on it, or white theirs out, whatever you want to do, and post it somewhere where you can see it as your visual aid. Remember I talked about in one of the sessions about making your dream book or your treasure map or whatever? You can use this as a visual aid for you to help see your account with all the items in green. You could even take a screen print of your account, cut off your name, paste it on their screen print, and there your name is looking like your back office. Okay, if you're an affiliate, see in the green amount in the affiliate, the approved and pending section, see the dollar amount you want to be earning per month as an affiliate, both in the approved and the pending section. Okay, so this becomes a way for you to envision achieving those goals, and you'll also be able to imagine what it feels like when you see it, because you're seeing it. All right. If you want Genesis, it's not on the product list, but you can imagine yourself clicking on the Genesis links and seeing all the menu fall down, and seeing yourself clicking on one of the products and having the video show up where Roger's talking about Genesis this and Genesis that. You don't have to know what he's saying in all of those videos, but you can imagine hearing his voice say, when you have Genesis, this happens. When you're selling on Amazon with Genesis, blah, blah, blah. Make up the scenario in your mind, but just hear him saying Genesis this and Genesis that, and attending Genesis trainings. Play games with your imagination. That's what it's for, okay? To make stuff up and dream about it. You can even imagine yourself shipping your products off to Amazon, to the fulfillment center. This is what they're doing. Those people who are selling on Amazon, they buy their stuff, then they ship it off to Amazon. Okay. Go on to Amazon and look at certain listings, and where you see a seller's name on a product listing, imagine your name is there. Instead of that company name, it's your company name that's saying sold by so and so and fulfilled by Amazon. Play games with your imagination. That's why you got one. So, I mean, those are some of the things you can do to visualize growing your DS Domination business. But be imaginative, be creative. Let your imagination run wild. Some of us need to practice that because it's gotten pretty rusty. So that's about it for as far as class material tonight. That pretty much covers it all. I've given you all the information you need to make it happen. You have the tools, you have the how-tos, all of that. All you need to do is use your tools, and you will see results. I strongly encourage you to go back through the series 1 week at a time for the next 6 weeks, just to reinforce what you've learned. And, of course, do your daily energy practices. That, without fail, do that. You'll definitely see results if you just commit to doing the daily energy practice. You hear Keisha and Reginald in the trainings talking about do this every day. Write down your goals, review them, do these things every day. He just on the group page today, he posted a little picture of these are the things you need to commit to doing every day. He's talking about daily business practices. I'm talking about daily energy practices. And some of you who are under Keisha, she gave us a list of the things, a schedule, her daily schedule. She said change it to fit your schedule, but from the time she gets up in the morning, she's got time slots. Spiritual studies, reading the Bible, meditating, whatever, exercising, getting up, attending to the kids, getting them off to school, going out for my walk, doing this, doing my videos, doing my postings, doing my hangouts, whatever it is. She's got time slots during the day, and she sets it up that way so that as she's working, she can keep herself on target. Now, I admit I'm not that diligent, at least not yet. But I am getting better at it. And, you can use whatever you want. You can get a whiteboard, which I'm going to get. I'm looking at ordering one this weekend, a whiteboard so I can write on the board behind me. I used to have one, and I remembered when I had one, I kept on target more. But you can use anything, task scheduler on your computer, a day timer, your phone. But it's better if you can write the stuff down where you have easy access to it. I use a tablet. It works best for me. And I also use Outlook a lot. I have a lot of stuff because they'll pop up timers and reminders for that, especially for the meetings and hangouts and things. So, use whatever tools you have available to you. And the last thing, complete that news story template that I gave you in week 1, where we started working with word exchanges and working with the basics. It was more of a homework assignment. I didn't really go into detail with you about it, but I did give you some practices of how you can do it on your own. If you have any questions about it, you can always post some questions or ask me in the group. I'll be happy to do a little short hangout and explain some things, or just answer, post an answer in the group about it. But the reason why you want to complete that is because when it's done, you have your new story. This is the response you'll give when someone says, hey, how you doing? How's it going? Instead of going into your old spiel about what's going wrong or how bad it's been or how rough it is, or saying, oh, I'm just getting by, I'm surviving, you can tell your new story. It becomes your own personal 30-second elevator speech. That's what it's for. That's why you're doing it. That's why you're taking such careful consideration in the words you choose and what you're saying. And say it with feeling. After all, it's your new story, and you want to believe it. You want to say it with passion. So now let's finish up by doing some tapping. We're going to do a short little bit of tapping today, and what we're going to tap on today is tapping for your amazing brilliance, okay? Putting that energy in your mind, in your body, and in your energy field around you, that you are amazingly brilliant. Stating it, affirming it, and declaring it. So let's do it. Let's start with the karate chop. You know how to do it. So let's go. All right. Even though part of me does not believe I have more untapped potential, more pure, amazing brilliance, clarity, purpose, and energy, it's totally okay. Totally okay with me. And even though a part of me really questions whether or not I have the brilliance, the gifts, or the talents, the energy to earn a lot more money, especially in less time, because I've never earned that much money before. And it's kind of hard for me to imagine that I can. That's okay too. Keep tapping. Because the truth is, there's more to me than I've seen so far. It's buried within me. It's an untapped resource of brilliance and boundless energy, of courage and enthusiasm, of inspiration and focus, and sufficient action. And I absolutely love that about myself. All right, now let's start tapping on those tapping points, starting with the eyebrow. I have an untapped potential within me. I have untapped genius. I may have seen it sometimes in my life, under the nose, and I can see it again now. Chin. But that is nothing, collarbone, compared to how much more, top of the head, I can unleash, eyebrow. So I am asking now for more. Side of the eye. More of my own brilliance to appear. Under the eye. I am now allowing more inspiration, under the nose, to flow through me. Chin. I am ready for streamlined, collarbone, efficient actions to manifest. Top of the head, through my very hands. Eyebrow. I speak directly to my subconscious mind. Side of the eye. The part of me that makes quantum leaps. Under the eye. The part of my mind that is creative. Under the nose. That has million-dollar ideas. On the chin. Just waiting to come forward. Collarbone. And I ask this part of me, top of the head, for more brilliant ideas. Eyebrow. Inspirations. Side of the eye. For courage. Under the eye. For audacious action. Under the nose. For higher levels of leadership to emerge. On the chin. For leveraged and efficient strategies to appear. Collarbone. I ask this of my unconscious mind. Top of the head, knowing it is a treasury of untapped brilliance. Eyebrow. And I'm open and ready. Side of the eye. And accepting and willing. Under the eye. For all the ideas, all the inspirations. Under the nose. And nudges to act, to appear. Chin. And when they do, I commit to hearing them, collarbone, with an open mind and an open heart. Top of the head. I commit to taking action. Eyebrow. And recognizing the signs of my own brilliance and genius. Side of the eye. I believe that there is way more to me under the eye than what I have seen so far. Under the nose. Than what I have shown so far. On the chin. And I'm open and allowing my brilliant genius to come through. Collarbone. For my highest and best good. Top of the head. And the highest and best good of everyone with whom I share it. Left wrist with your right fingertips. I am eternally grateful for all of this and something even better. Now on your right wrist, left fingertips. Thank you, universe, and thank you, Mother Earth. Okay, breathe in. Deep into your stomach and try to keep your shoulders relaxed. Just let your stomach go out. And exhale through your mouth. Pull your stomach in and try to press it into your spine. So to push all the air out of your lungs. Inhale deep again. Exhale. Inhale deep again. And exhale. Now just sit with the energy, sit with your hands in your lap. It's a good idea to have your hands in your lap with your palms up in a position of receipt when you're doing the breathing. I just forgot to tell you, but that's a good thing to do. So just let that energy flow. Well, we are done. That's it. We're done with all the live sessions. Now from now on, this point on, we'll be connecting in the group. You can post your questions and comments there because I'll be monitoring the group daily, several times a day in most cases. You've done an absolutely wonderful job. I am so proud of all of you. You've committed to all 6 weeks of growing, changing, and experiencing new energies of creativity, and I can't believe it went by so fast. Seems like we just got started a couple of weeks ago, and now we're done. So now it's up to you. Keep up the good work. Continue with your daily energy hygiene practices, working on your goals and listening to your inner voice. Be mindful of what you say and do and think. I thank you so much for your hard work and commitment and for allowing me to be your guide. You can now continue to view the videos and access the documents in the file sections and to do your tapping sequences. The tapping is so important, so keep doing that, especially when you run into those walls or need that extra push to get the energy going. Make sure you download. I put a new guided meditation link on the web page. I think it was last week. It's a guided meditation called Guidance. It actually is it's a guidance to help you get in touch with your body and all of its intelligence. It helps you to become aware of and connect with the divine intelligence and wisdom that lives in your body. It helps you to realize this incredible awareness of the things your body knows and does that you can't even begin to understand. Like how it heals itself, maintains its temperature, keeps your heart beating, how it directs and processes the air you breathe and the energy it contains, and all of the other miraculous things that your body does. In some ways, you could say your body's intelligence exceeds yours. With everything it does without your assistance, I think it's safe to say it contains a genius-level intelligence of its own. So, respect it, honor it. This meditation will help you to get in touch with it and to learn to use it and work with it instead of against it. And lastly, I have a couple of new things for you too, but I haven't posted them yet. Over the next few days, keep an eye out for the group. I have a special little video for you, which I think you'll really enjoy, to give you some visuals to help inspire your imagination and to energize you. So again, like I said, I thank you for the opportunity to serve you. I hope you found great value in this time we've spent together. I know I have, and I'm very grateful for the fact that you chose me because I've benefited a lot. Doing these classes, putting them together, and going through the sequences with you has really made some things happen for me. I've found a lot of shifting going on. Just in the last 2 weeks, I've had 3 people join my team, and I didn't even ask. I mean, they just showed up. So I'm like, oh, yeah. Baby, this is working. So you know I'm going to keep doing it. Anyway, let me know how you're doing. Ask your questions and don't be afraid to share with us. We'd love to hear what's happening for you. Okay? So long for now. It's been great. Have an amazing night and an amazing week. God bless.